What message do you think the Scottish results give to the world, and what message do you derive from it for here in Quebec?
So it is an example of a state, I would say a healthy state of tension in subnational states, in countries like UK or Canada, between a strong feeling of identity, which I think Scots and Quebecers have in common, and at the same time the desire to belong to a larger political organization, UK or Canada. This being said, I also mentioned that all comparisons after that are risky because we have far more capacity to act, far more competencies, jurisdictions than Scotland has within UK. And we have, I think, chosen in Canada wisely the most modern way of making people live together, which is federalism. So there's a lot of messages there.
Where do you think we find the sovereignist movement in Quebec today?
Well, I don't know. What I hear in the coming weeks, in the past weeks and coming weeks, is a pure discussion on theoretical ambitions and how we're going to make a referendum, and what about jobs, what about the economy, what about public finances, what about the kind of society we want to live in. I'm not hearing anything about that. I'm just only hearing discussions, infighting among various factions, and mainly around the mechanics of a referendum.
Micro de droite.
Caroline Plante, Global News. I think the Parti Québécois had a lot of hope in this Scottish referendum. Do you think that the results are now cooling them down?
Well, you'll ask them. You know, it's time for them to come home and work on real issues.
What real issues? Okay.
Jobs, economy, yeah. Quality of life, healthcare, education, and the defense and promotion of Quebec's special and distinct character in Canada and around the world. Those are the real issues.
What do you think of Westminster's willingness to negotiate new powers? Could that send a message that it's worth it to go through a referendum? Could it inspire the sovereignist troops here?
It's too early to say, and I certainly don't want to comment in any way that would infer that I'm getting into what happens in another country. I have to be very careful about that. What I've been saying, and I will repeat again, is that I think if the Scots had what we have, Quebecers within Canada, they probably would be quite happy.
And the referendum may be over in Scotland, but it's never really over.
Yeah, an idea never dies, as I said. The question is not the existence or non-existence of the idea, but its capacity to become a strong political movement. And this is what is to be observed in coming years, both in Canada and elsewhere too.
Dernière question, micro de droite.
Morning.
Morning.
What did you think of Mr. Salmon's concession speech as compared to Mr. Parizeau's speech on the
I must confess that I was asleep. I haven't. Maybe if you want to summarize it for me, I can comment, but I haven't listened to the speech.
Oh, okay. Do you think in any way you'll be, or Federalists, Stéphane Dion, do you think people will be using this as an example in future campaigns in Quebec and Canada?
What I've noted is that, as far as I could tell from a distance, is that the campaign was not so much centered on identity or exclusion of this or that category of person from who is a Scot, who is not a Scot, as we've unfortunately heard here in Quebec, was mainly about fiscal and economic issues, which is quite a different context than what we went through in the recent month in particular. But I would have to read Mr. Salmon's speech in order to comment with sound information. I would not dare to comment on his words if I've not read them.
So could a future Quebec referendum be argued, putting the identity things aside, could it just be argued on an economic plan?
My plan is that there will not be another referendum in Quebec. That's it. That's not my movie. It's the PQ's movie, and I won't play in their movie.
Merci.